Hey everybody, this is Peter 5 Foot from the Puck Drops here, and we are doing a new thing here on our channel, and this is a power rankings. We saw a lot of stuff happen in the National Hockey League last night, and we're gonna go recap it. So, sorry for that. I have a few people in the room. Boston, won 4-2 over Anaheim last night. The Minnesota Wild blanked the Ottawa Senators 2-0. Florida won 6-4 over New Jersey in a game that New Jersey should have had, being up. I was actually at that game. They were up for a long time, and the Panthers came back and won. The Islanders down the Blues in overtime 3-2 off of a goal by Devon Taves, their excellent defenseman in his second year. The Buffalo Sabres beat Dallas 4-0. Colorado takes a 6-3 win over Washington, and Chicago comes back 3-1 over the Edmonton Oilers. I'm going to start with their standings. We have a lot of league standings around the league and start going on my power rankings.
This is long time.
So number 32. Number 32 is the Ottawa Senators, a team that's played 5 games. They've only won 1 game and lost 4. To me, Ottawa lists at number 31 on their power rankings due to their ineptitude to score and the youth. But with Ottawa, we keep the goaltending. The goaltending is not an issue. And with most teams, that is an issue, and it creates major problems, which is from the number 30th team, the New Jersey Devils. And this team infuriates me. This team was supposed to win the Stanley Cup. We heard a lot about this team. No wins in their last 6 games. 4 losses, 2 shootout losses within average of games played, along with only 2 points in the National Hockey League, in a league that has really started to ramp up. The Devils need to get things going. I really think the defense needs to step up there, and this is a team that has the pressure on them. So then I put that on 30.
For Chloe, should I put
29. 29th team, I would plug in the Chicago Blackhawks. The Chicago Blackhawks have not reassessed a rebuild or reassessed a contend. We know they have Jonathan Taves. We know they have Patrick Kane. We know they went and got Dylan Strome for the Chicago Blackhawks, and that they went and received guys like got away Schmaltz and some other hockey players there. But in Chicago, I'm not impressed with this team, and they haven't answered my question about goaltending. Do you start Robin Lehner? Do you start Corey Crawford? Hasn't been completely answered, so yet you stay there with Chicago. I keep them at 29. 28th, I would go with the Wild. There's another team that's been confusing. They've had rushes, they've had stretches, but they don't have a competent first line. Eric Stahl hasn't been good in the last 2 years. You're going to need him to score goals. What do we know of Zach Parise? We still don't know. Ryan Suter, a more inconsistent defenseman, but he has played well the last few games. Wild, I think, can be good this year, but I stick them at 28. At 27, I would put the San Jose Sharks, which is a team who's won 2 straight, but they seem to be struggling with inconsistencies on offense. And you got Brent Burns, a guy who doesn't start early well in the Norris Trophy conversation. He didn't this year too, but 2 wins, including the boost of Patrick Marleau. That'll help. That obviously helps with the San Jose Sharks, but I stick them at 27. At 26, I would put the Dallas Stars. This is another weird team. This team, I could see at the President's Trophy, they have some of the best defense in the league. They have the young players from Finland. They have guys like Joe Pavelski who go and get from the San Jose Sharks. You have the Ben line. This team's built to score goals, and they're built to defend. And they've got a goaltender who can stop pucks out. But they really had issues keeping the puck off the blue line. And it's been a mirage. It's been a mystique with Dallas. I don't know what to make of them. But I could stick them at 26. At 25, I would put the Los Angeles Kings. Team that's 2-3, and have some sort of depth early in this season. And they've been starting to get better with their young players, but this team just doesn't seem like they can win in and out every night. And you're going to have to build on that. You're going to have to get better. So I stick LA at 25. At 24, I put the Columbus Blue Jackets, a team that is 2-3, and they're not garbage. They can win, but it almost seems like the Columbus Blue Jackets would be one of the best teams in the league if they had maintained the talent that they had last year. You only add in Gustav Nyquist, but you give away guys. Like, you give away a Ryan Zingle, you give away a Matt Duchene, you give away a Sergei Bobrovsky, and you give away an Artemi Panarin, one of the most prolific scorers in your franchise's history. 2-3.
Peter.
This is a team that has to change their philosophies if you're going to win and that can play the puck. Clayton Keller, Ekman Larson, and the goaltenders there. I always look at goaltending; it's really important, and the coaching has helped. I think the Coyotes are in a much better spot than they've been in the last few years. They haven't started horrible. The loss to Anaheim was pretty bad, but this is a team that can go far, I think. I kind of like that they have been bringing along players, and I like the way they stick at 23. At 22, I put the Calgary Flames. I don't know how to look at this Calgary team. You see flashes of last year, but you still see inconsistency, which I kind of saw. Mark Giordano has not looked Norris Trophy material. The goaltending, again, iffy, but Johnny Gaudreau has said that he's back to his prime form, and he has. He's been playing like a man possessed. That one goal he scored against Dallas is incredible. So I put Calgary at 22, basically the middle of the pack. At 21, I'm going to plug in the Tampa Bay Lightning, a team that, again, they're contenders, Stanley Cup contenders, but haven't been playing like it. They'll fit in. They have the depth to do it. They have the team to do it, and they have the talent to do it. But I stick them at 21. I stick them at 21, Tampa Bay. At 20, I put Vancouver Canucks, who are 2-2. They play very well at home. They have issues on the road. They have the offensive strength. But that's my 20th team is the Vancouver Canucks. The speed, the strength, only to get better in a Pacific Division that they could really contend for. Although Vegas is the team to beat in that division. At 19, I would put the New York Islanders at number 19. New York Islanders, again, you lose a lot of pieces, but you gain their top line. They wanted to keep the top line, and they did. Everly and Anders Lee and Josh Bailey. You grab in a guy like Derek Brassard, and you put in the goal. And the goalies have been the only issue for Barry Trotz's hockey club. But I think number 19 for the New York Islanders is perfect. At number 18, I'm going to go ahead and fit the Florida Panthers. Panthers won today against the Devils. They went to 2-2, have been averaging about the same amounts of points as they did last year, but they've gotten to a better spot. We know that the second game of the year, they beat the Tampa Bay Lightning, which was big. It was home, but it was a big game. And as I saw today live, the Panthers play playoff hockey. Not always going to get you to the regular season. Once you get to the playoffs, it can win you a Stanley Cup. And this is a dark horse to win it because of the way they play, the way they're coached, generating shots from the blue line. You start making a rush and you keep on going with it. So for the Florida Panthers, that is something that is excellent. And I would put them at 18. At 17. 17 is a very interesting one, guys. I would say I would put the Detroit Red Wings, a team that has the offensive strength and the offensive strength of players like Dylan Larkin. Anthony Seal is still there. The goaltending. Now the thing is, we don't know the issue with the goaltending. The Jimmy Howard is still in net, yes, but defenseman Mike Green. This is a team probably doesn't make the playoffs, but I'm at the 17th spot. At the 16th spot, there's some interesting places to put. I'm gonna pop up the Montreal Canadiens with the young team. I think at Kekinimi. Rangers have just exceeded complete and utter expectations that they had to have had. So New York, I definitely put at number 15 with Artemi Panarin, some of these other hockey players that they have at their disposal. So that's my number 15 team. Number 14, I put down the Philadelphia Flyers. So for Philadelphia, what Vigneault has put together there, connecting also the speed game. Pittsburgh Penguins, and I know they're fun too. I know they won 3 games, but they really don't impress me. I think they're going to stumble a little bit down the road, have big losing streaks. They're winning on their youth right now, but when teams can bottle up their youth, they really don't have much to go off the Crosby line. It's still a good team. It's still a team that could make the playoffs, but I don't know how far they go. They have to switch up their mentality soon, or a big break's coming in Pittsburgh. That would be my 13th team. My 12th team on the rankings would be the Washington Capitals. A 3-2 team. They have the offensive depth, but they kind of falter. They're not sure what they are yet. I still like the offense. I still think it's one of the most potent power plays that we've ever seen in our league, with Kuznetsov and Backstrom and Oshie and John Carlson, Alexander Ovechkin, one of the greatest goal scorers who's ever played the sport. So I think that works good for them. I think 12 is a good ranking. Number 11, I put the Winnipeg Jets at. The defense has been really struggling, but a 4-3 team, one that can really compete and battle back, and one that has defense. The defense has been a liability, but the offense can score on the bunches. That Scheifele line is really deadly. Scheifele and even Kyle Connor when he's put on, along with Mark Scheifele, as I said, and Blake Wheeler and Patrick Laine. Laine's played all the better that he has had to play. So I put Winnipeg's definitely back to a playoff contender. I put them at number 10. At number 11, excuse me. Number 10, I slate the Toronto Maple Leafs. At a 3-2 record. They knew they had to start strong, and they have started really strong. So the Toronto Maple Leafs definitely my this big 3-2 team. Tavares, the captain, has played well along with some of their young Russian kids. They have the Maple Leafs have a goal to win the playoff series, and to do that, they're going to have the best home ice advantage as they can and compete with all the great teams in the National Hockey League and be able to score goals and win games that they are supposed to and not supposed to win on every night. And they're starting to do that. So I put them in my number 10 spot. My number 9 spot, I put the St. Louis Blues 3-1. A team that I didn't know how I was going to react. I thought it was going to be sluggish, but they've been great down the stretch since they went to the Stanley Cup final and won the Stanley Cup. 3-1-2. The defense has been really set up well and started to play fast and play hard and play strong. I like Pietrangelo. I still like that the Blues kept a lot of their core and signed a lot of their core, although they were able to get Justin Falk from Carolina, and I think that's amazing. So that would be my ninth rated team, the St. Louis Blues. At number 8, I put the Anaheim Ducks at 4-2. A team that just goes with Coach Dallas Eakins and speed. They have Getzlaf, but Getzlaf's the quarterback, Getzlaf's the leader, and they just go on complete speed and domination of this new age hockey game, the sport that we play now. And it's worked completely to their favor now. We'll see if they can make the playoffs and how they play going into a playoff run, if they even get into the postseason. But right now, I think it's great what they're doing. At number 8 still. At number 7, I put together the Vegas Golden Knights. Again, another 4-2 hockey team. And they're just flowing. They're coming around the cylinders. A few defensive players I think are missed, and they really need a backup to Marc-Andre Fleury. Subban is not cutting it. He's not grinding in the work. But really, Marc-Andre Fleury is so necessary, and this team feeds off of him. They score a lot of goals. They find ways to score goals in different directions, in different opportunities. So I put them at 7. My 6th team that I would plug up would be the Nashville Predators. And I didn't expect to see how good they would be, but Matt Duchene has fit completely, sliding right into their offense. They've got the same offensive players as most, but Yossi, more young D-men, Pecorine holding the fort. This is a dangerous team that could, again, win the Stanley Cup. And I put them at 6, but really, I'm the most pleasantly surprised by any other team. The Nashville Predators are just a high-end hockey club right now. And it's just flowing. I put them at 6. At number 5, I put the Boston Bruins, a team that had to go far, and they have. They've been using the Marchand line. They've been using their other quick lines, making sure in this top 5 that they have to play well in this league because it's Stanley Cup or bust in Beantown. Got 5-1-0 after already being 2-0 up in that one game that they lost to the Colorado Avalanche. 5 is also a really good team themselves, 5-1. I think the Bruins have it all covered, and I think number 5 is the spot for them. My number 4 team, and this is really tough, I think belongs to the Edmonton Oilers. And I put Edmonton there because of just how good Edmonton has been. They've got the offense, they've got the forechecking. Didn't play great today, but the thing is that they rolled McDavid, they rolled Draisaitl, they rolled their speed guys, but they also put forechecking players that can hit by the goal crease, and that really helps you when you can make those types of plays, and Edmonton has. And Edmonton's done a really nice job. They definitely look like a playoff team now. So I could see them going there, and I think 4 is a great ranking with them now, 5-1, and a really good record. And when they get 10 points already in this season. At number 3, I would put the Buffalo Sabres, a team with the quickness, and they started out good last year, and they also had a middle stretch that was absolutely breathtaking to watch. But early on, the Sabres are getting things done. 5-0-1, 11 points. Buffalo seems unstoppable. At some point, they will be stopped because nobody's perfect. But right now, the Sabres have everything going with them. Their youth is scoring. They have a sniper that they didn't even think that would be ready in Victor Olofsson. Jack Eichel is a man unleashed, a demon unleashed, to bring hell upon all of the other NHL teams. The way he shoots the puck, the way he scores is absolutely breathtaking. I put the Sabres at 3 because I don't think they're just as good as the other two teams I'll mention. The Carolina Hurricanes I put at number 2 at 5-1. I didn't know what to expect of these guys. Boy, are they some of the most fun hockey teams to watch on the planet. The way that their defensive plays, I mean, the two guys, Ryan Zingle and Jake Gardner, that were signed late in the year, late in the offseason, and were supposed to be just fillers, have played like they need more money. And they might. The defense put in together Joel Edmondson there in Carolina. The Hurricanes have put together a perfect fitting team that Brindamore loves, and they love Ron Brindamore. They almost remind me of the 2006 Stanley Cup championship squad. The Carolina Hurricanes are something else, and they're something to behold. Speed, power, and strength. That's what I think of when I see the Carolina Hurricanes, and that is my number 2 team in my power rankings. Lastly, number 1 is the Colorado Avalanche, a team that was supposed to be a Stanley Cup contender, and boy, are they ever. They're 5-0, They fought back in a couple of games. They kept momentum rolling in a couple of games after being pushed across. And this team finds ways to win. And they find ways to win by combining guys like Jonas Donskoy and Nazem Kadri and Andrei Burakovsky that had never played against with each other, with coming from teams like the Washington Capitals, Toronto, and the Sharks. And the Avalanche, with a great defense and Cale Makar being the power play quarterback of a generation, has turned this Avs team into a championship bona fide team. I have them number 1 in the league because they play number 1 style hockey. The only question I did have was goaltending. And Grubauer was never a real starter, but he's a starter now. He's flashed through. They got to get a better backup because they have a young backup who hasn't proven himself yet and has struggled. But right now, the Avs, I think, are the best team in the league. That's my power rankings. Just put up some games for tomorrow so you guys can pay attention to them and give you some my predictions. Minnesota and Toronto, the last time these teams met was a colossal game last year where the Toronto Maple Leafs were up for the whole time. The Wild came back in the middle of the third period, and Devon Dubnyk stole a show. I have the Leafs taking back revenge in Toronto, winning probably 3-1. I'm not sure of the score. I'll just tell you the wins. Tampa Bay and Montreal. Tampa Bay always plays Montreal well, especially in Montreal. Tampa needs a win. They get it in the Bell Center. The battle of the old and the new Jets, Coyotes and Winnipeg. Coyotes come to Winnipeg and get a road win that they need, like humans need oxygen. Philadelphia in Calgary tomorrow. Well, today, as we're speaking, in the Scotiabank Saddledome. That'll be a huge game, and I think that the Flames will hold home ice and take down Philly. In BC, the Canucks and the Red Wings battle. And the Red Wings are going to win this in Vancouver. Nashville plays. Also, this is. I'll actually tell you right after this. Nashville plays Vegas. I think Vegas will home ice and score and win a pivotal game there. In Carolina and LA, Carolina beats the Kings. Last few notes before I end this stream. Nicholas Hjalmarsson, the former Coyote, former Blackhawk, has been ruled out definitely for the Yotes, and they're not sure when he'll be back. It's not season ending, but he's going to be out for a long time. Markstrom needs to take a personal leave, and he will, from Vancouver. So it's going to be Demko for a few games, and definitely Demko against Detroit, tomorrow night, which will be obviously important to know. The 3 stars of this week were named last night. Connor McDavid from the Oilers, the few games that he's had against New York and Chicago. Patrick Laine, and Sidney Crosby. 3 of the best players in the NHL anyway, and goal scorers. So that is all that's it for this edition of the Power Rankings. We see you guys next week. If you already enjoyed that, and have a great night, and happy hockey.